Okay, Democrats and liberals, former Democrat and liberal here, and I am not, nor have I ever been a Trump supporter, so try not to just knee-jerk disregard what I'm about to say. MAGA is not the root of your problem. Some Trump voters are for sure unhinged, hyper-nationalist, and bigoted. Others were just desperate for change. They're tired of the establishment's encroachments and gaslighting. Either way, Trump and his authoritarian pseudo-populist nationalist movement are not some fluke in an otherwise functioning, glorious democracy. A lot of Democrats and liberals tend to believe that while the system might have had some issues, everything was going fine and even changing for the better with Obama and Biden and the prospects of female presidents until mean old Adolf Trump came along. But nothing could be further from the reality, which is that MAGA is a very predictable result of the real problem, which extends back to the scandal-free Obama administration, which deserves a quick walk down memory lane. The Obama regime drone-bombed civilians and assassinated American citizens without trial, denying them due process. The administration instigated mass deportations and put kids in cages, mass surveilled the public, targeted leakers and journalists, and abused the Espionage Act to do so, codified indefinite detention, cozied up to brutal regimes committing war crimes, and empowered Wall Street and other corporatists. While conditions got worse for regular people and the vice grip of authoritarianism kept tightening, continually expanding executive and state power for the next ruler to enjoy, liberals and Democrats ignored or rationalized it because a Democrat was doing it, just like MAGA does for Trump now. But it goes back so much further than just the warmongering corporatist Biden or Obama, back further than the Bush, Clinton, or Reagan administrations, and many before that. It goes back to what they've all perpetuated: the military-industrial complex, the Federal Reserve central banking system, which perpetually devalues the dollar and concentrates ruling class wealth, endless piles of spending and debt, and the corporatocracy that's been in power for generations. These policies have left generations of millions of people hopeless, desperate, disempowered, and susceptible to the false promises of a brilliantly marketed entertainer framed as a populist daddy who's stepping in to take out the bad guys and make it all better. Meanwhile, Democrats in recent years have offered collectivist culture wars, more big government and spending, more corporatocracy, more foreign entanglement, censorship, lockdowns and anti-bodily choice mandates, and toxic contempt and character assassination for anyone who has disagreed or objected. More importantly, the current Trump hysteria goes back further to the entire notion of voting and majority rule and democracy itself. Your beloved democracy creates inherent polarization because power in government means power over others, which, as it turns out, a lot of people don't want to be subject to. Further, if you'll recall, the system of democracy and government you worship is sacred, codified and institutionalized the oppression you loathe so much. It's either allowed or been unable to prevent the long-running creep into authoritarianism that both your idols and perceived enemies have perpetuated. On that note, if your democracy got you fascism that your representatives have officially certified and legitimized, it's not a very good system. If you're able to see the Democrats' failures, but only to the extent that they lost the election, you're missing the point. And if your solution is to simply regain power over this failed system, you are perpetuating the problems you think you're resisting. To reiterate, I am no Trump supporter. As expected, the Trump regime 2.0 is escalating the spending-addicted, military-industrial, technocratic, and corporatist authoritarian dystopia and further trampling basic liberties. And also as expected, Democrats keep the false dichotomy going with their singular hatred for MAGA and Republicans and anyone who doesn't abide by their narratives as they try to use government to force their ideology down people's throats, effectively acting as mirror reflections of those others they loathe so much. Democrats and liberals' perpetual self-aggrandizement and self-victimization and complete refusal to take a look in the mirror and consider that perhaps their dogmatic beliefs, voting habits, and apathy toward corruption and authoritarianism when the blues are in power might have helped lay the groundwork for Trump to keep seizing it and contributed to the ever-encroaching uniparty death spiral is exactly why your resistance is nothing more than controlled opposition.